Hey, this is Ryan.
And this is Steve, and you're listening and or watching 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast.
If they're watching, they're also listening, Steve.
I thought about that.
You thought about that?
I thought about it, but I was like, what if they're watching on mute? But that doesn't really make any sense. More likely, they just have it playing on YouTube, but minimized. So no matter what, they're listening.
We have done it in the past where you can turn on the closed captions for the YouTube. So they could watch it and not listen. They could just read. But the closed captions are super loose and not terribly accurate.
I was watching something on YouTube the other day, and the captions were on. And the entire time, are those just automatically generated?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? The words were just...
Sometimes they're so bizarre that it's ridiculous. And sometimes you're like, this was automatic. It's really close.
Oh.
It's really close.
I could definitely see how it made sense phonetically.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably helped that whatever video I was watching was one of those, it was like Mashable or Looper or something, like one of those top 10 list videos where the person's like, number 3, everybody loves the 1999 film The Matrix, starring Keanu Reeves and Morpheus.
Keanu Reeves and Morpheus, my two favorite actors.
Keanu Reeves and Larry Fishburne. And
Larry Fishburne.
Do you not know? You know about that, right?
No, I don't. Is that his real name?
So Lawrence Fishburne, when he first was coming up, he was credited in a bunch of movies as Larry Fishburne. I think he's credited in...
That's crazy.
It was one of his first movies. I think it was...
Wasn't he on Pee-wee's Playhouse?
He was.
Was he Larry Fishburne then?
I think he might have been Larry Fishburne then. He was definitely a Larry Fishburne in whatever movie he did. I want to say, if it wasn't a Spike Lee film, it was a Spike Lee style film.
Uh-huh. Well, Larry could be short for Lawrence.
I want to say it was maybe was he in Boys in the Hood?
I can't remember.
But it was that kind of movie.
We're so off topic. This is ridiculous. Hey, Steve, what's new in your guitar life? Guitar stuff that we talk about, Steve.
I bought a pedal today.
What pedal did you buy?
My Strymon Zuma has not arrived yet, but I bought a pedal today. I bought a 1981 Inventions Drive DRV.
Cool.
Run. I think it's technically run number 3, but it's in the run number 2 enclosure.
Every time I see those on Instagram or wherever, I'm like, that's my birth year. I should probably have one someday just because it's my birth year.
So the one I have, or the one I'm getting, Matt sent out. I'm on the email list. I got on the email list specifically, so I would know when the next batch was released.
Sure. So
they did a release of 81 pedals. He said that was a thing that he wanted to do, was to drop 81 at once. And so literally as soon as it went up, I was like, gotta buy. And it's in the number 2 run casing, which is the chrome case.
Ooh, nice.
Chrome
is always pretty.
I don't know if it's chrome or if it's
metallic,
polished steel or whatever, but it's the silver one, the reflective one, versus I think the original one was. Now this
is
gray.
kind of like a ratty sort of thing, right?
Yeah. So it's originally kind of started. I'm trying to remember. He tells a full story on the Tone Mob. You know what? It's a ratty style thing.
Go listen to the Tone Mob.
Yeah, go listen to the Matthew Hoops interview on the Tone Mob. He explains it way better than I can. So, yeah. So that's one thing I did today.
Do you have another thing?
The other thing is yesterday I pulled my.
I'm waiting for it.
I pulled my Strat out.
Oh, did you have to go to the hospital after that? That sounds serious.
Oh my gosh.
I remember one time I pulled my Strat out and I was laid up for a week.
It's not even funny.
I know. Nothing I say is funny. You know that.
So I pulled it out actually a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, the string."
Did anyone call the cops?
The strings felt really weird, really floppy. I guess I don't know what other word to use.
Steve pulled it out and it felt floppy.
Well, we're not going to get our 80 cents of monetization for this video.
This episode is off to a ripping start. This is going to be the best episode of the year, Steve.
So anyway,
we're gonna win a Hummy
Is that a what?
That's an award we give ourselves for our best episodes.
And so anyway,
I wish that was real.
I pulled it out, and the strings just felt weird, and I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I don't have enough time between now and when I need to play it to like change the strings and get them properly stretched out and whatever.
Sure.
So I just left them on, and so I did it this week. And the thing my thought was that the strings that I had on them were 9s.
Oh,
and
what'd you have on there, Steve?
I don't know because
okay.
I put the new strings on that I know were 10s, unless they were just improperly labeled, but they felt all right. And they still, on the guitar, they still feel thin.
10s feel thin.
Yeah, like they don't feel any different than the strings that were on there before.
Well, don't work your way up the scale. I say jump directly into 13s.
Into 13s.
Mm-hmm. This is on your Japanese Strat?
Yeah. Well, so the two things I'm comparing it to my Telecaster, like, which I know has Dan Electro 10s on it. The strings I throw on my Strat were String Dog 10s. String Dog is the string that String Dog, Rocket Dog, something like that. I think it's String Dog. It's what Cower puts on all of his guitars.
Oh, okay.
So they're the strings I want at Cower Fest.
Oh, okay. I'd never heard of them. Sorry, String Rocket Dog.
I think it's String Dog. Anyway, I put those on there, and I don't know if they're like a lower tension string or what, but they feel very light. I played them. I mean, I got used to them. And the other thing is that, like, I wonder if that guitar is just so weird, or maybe it's the difference between, like, my first thought is maybe it's just a difference between like a Strat and a Tele and having like a trem bridge versus a hardtail. But then I just picked up your Strat back here. I don't know what you have on there.
Probably 10s or 11s.
So if they're 10s, they definitely feel completely different.
And it shouldn't matter on my guitar because I set up the trim to rest on the body, so it shouldn't be.
But that's the same with mine.
Right.
Like I have basically, if I put a trem bar on it, I have to put like the full weight of like my shoulder into it.
That's too tight.
Debatable. No,
debatable.
I basically set my Strat up to be like effectively blocked,
a hardtail,
but just I did it with the springs and not a wood block.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't really know, but I played it and it was great, and I got lots of compliments for how good the guitar looked. But
that Strat is fantastic.
Not really very many compliments on my playing. So.
Oh,
it was weird. This
was at church?
Yeah, we had like a sub drummer. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was him or me, but like every time we would have like a dynamic build, I would just like lose myself. Like I couldn't hear myself anymore.
You get lost in it.
And so that's not good. I tried to like isolate, but no matter how I like changed the mix, like I would always
just
disappear whenever we would like get loud.
Maybe that'll change once you get that 1981 in the mix.
Maybe
it'll fix all your problems.
We'll see.
New stuff fixes all your problems.
That's
all the time.
What it is. If you're having a problem, just buy new stuff.
Spend money till you're happy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what we believe.
Exactly.
Look at all these guitars.
Yeah, I'm happy. Look at me. I'm so happy.
So what's new with you, Ryan?
What is new with me? I had something in my head and I forgot it already. I bought this little guy a while back. It's a D250 overdrive by Mosky. It's a single-spaced DOD 250 style clone. It's purple. I think it was like $20 on Amazon or something like that.
Yeah.
I think I saw someone review it somewhere, and I looked it up, and I was like, $20, and it's a 250. I gotta try it out. Okay. So
how is it?
I've messed around with it a little bit. It sounds like a 250, but it's crazy because from here on the knob to here, basically nothing happens.
Oh, weird.
So from, what is that, like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
All the way to about 2 or 3 o'clock on the knob in the morning or the evening. It's up to you. Nothing happens on the knob, and then all the action happens in the very last 2.5 hours of the knob. Also, it's only the gain control up top. if you have to open it up and there's a trim pot inside for the volume control. I really wish they had done just 2 mini knobs on the top.
Yeah.
It would have been so simple to do that.
Is the trim pot? It's located probably on the bottom.
Yeah, you have to open up the bottom.
Oh. I was gonna say if it was located on the top, you could just like float mount a knob.
Yeah, I'd have to take it apart to see if I could do something like that. I mean, for $20, I can go pick up a different DoD 250 for $35.
Right.
I'm not going to spend my time to make a modification to it to save this. But I will say that on that wide berth setting where nothing happens, it has a pleasant like preampy sort of sound where it makes you sparkle a little bit more. It has the DoD 250 low gain sound kind of going on. So when I do a video of this, I have a feeling I'm going to end up being like, yeah, I recommend this. I've been thinking about this new scale, like this rating scale for reviewing things on YouTube, and we can use it here on the show too. It's basically it's like a yes or no scale. The positive part of the scale is buy. And then the negative side of the scale is bye-bye. So it's either buy or bye-bye. And I think I'm going to end up saying bye to this instead of bye-bye. What do you think about that scale, Steve? for the listeners at home who can't see your face.
I mean, the question I have is...
Do you think that scale is a buy or a bye-bye?
My concern is if we disagree, like if we can't come to consensus.
Well, I'm going to do it on the YouTube videos that you have nothing to do with,
that's
so
true.
I can get away with it. I mean, I can get away with it here on the show, too. You can't stop me.
I'm just concerned that if you get really excited, you're going to channel a little too much in sync.
And say bye, bye, bye?
Yes.
Well, that could be the third rating that's like a very, very good pedal. Like buy is good. Bye-bye is bad. Bye is really good because it's all buys.
I don't know, man.
Another new thing I have is we had church rehearsal on Tuesday this week, earlier in the week.
Right.
And I took my board with the Solid Studio on it, and I didn't bring an amp. And that was a mistake this time. I'm on my journey with this thing. The Solid Studio didn't cause the problems as far as I'm aware. My one spot, which is like the first one spot I ever bought, died on me. You can see there's areas on it where it's frayed around like the jack there. There's visible bunching. Oh, and fraying along the cable. So I've been running an external 9-volt adapter into the Solid Studio just because it doesn't seem to want to be on the same power brick as everything in the box. I don't actually know what the power requirements are for it, but I
thought it was on the website.
It doesn't seem to like it. I haven't been able to find it. But anyways, it was plugged into this old one spot, which obviously died on me. I was like trying to figure out the situation, like plugging it in and rattling around the jack. And then I went and grabbed the wall wart side of it to see if it was seated correctly in the wall, and it was burning hot. So,
yikes.
Yeah, it's a fire hazard now. I need to just throw it away. I'm always so cheap with these things. Even though it's had visual fraying on it, I've kept it around just because I've been like, it still works. But maybe I should have a rule that once something's frayed, it's time to get rid of it.
So would you say that you would rate that power supply a die or a die?
Which one of those is good and which one is bad?
They're all bad.
They're both bad.
Maybe a die.
It's a die.
It's a die. Okay.
Yeah, I need to throw it away because it's going to start a fire. I'm lucky that I haven't blown up that Solid Studio yet, considering how many times I plug it in and it flashes and turns off and it's like, nope, you did it wrong.
Yeah, man. That's why. It's a good thing it does that.
So I know, right? To protect itself from people like me. That's awful to it.
How dare you?
Should we jump into the first advertisement?
Yeah, this first ad was sent in by Joe Hansen. It says, from the strings and accessory plant in Elgin, a box full of single-ply truss rod covers and 18 Les Paul Studio pick guards. As you can see, there's a pile of them. Sold as a lot. They've been in my garage too long, and I'm not needing them. Really? You don't have 18 Les Paul Studios to replace pick guards on?
And what looks like probably 500 truss rod covers.
Yeah. So this guy's asking $75.
You know who could really use these?
Who?
Epiphone. They make enough Les Pauls that they could use these. No one else needs these.
The maximum power requirement on the Solid Studio is 240 milliamps. So you could run it off of your box.
Right. I use the K-line.
You'd have to run it off of the high output, the 500 milliamp power.
Well, I'll try that. I'll try rewiring.
Which you might already be burning on some other supply.
Yeah.
Or some other high draw pedal.
I have a spot to plug in another wall wart under my board. I just need to do that.
Yeah.
Put it on its own thing.
So anyway, 18 Les Paul Studio pick guards and a bunch of truss rod covers. Would you pay $75 for this?
No.
Really?
I mean, if I needed these parts, if I needed $90 worth of these parts, I would drive to go buy this box, and that would only be like 20 truss covers and like 3 pick guards or something like that. I would not pay $75 for this massive amount of truss covers and pick guards just because that's a good price, because I'm never going to use them all, and I'm never going to be able to repurpose them into something. You know what you could use these for?
Why would you try to do either of those things?
Someone could use those truss rod covers for like costume design, like spray paint them silver and make like a medieval breastplate out of them. You know, like the layered like scaled armor.
Okay.
They could use them for that. But other than that, I don't see any use for this many of these things.
I feel like
Tell me
at some
Steve.
point you lost the spirit of this show.
I lost the flip in my heart.
At 18 Les Paul Studio pick guards,
Okay.
you would have to sell these at like $4 a piece to make money.
How much do Les Paul pick guards go for?
A single all parts replacement pick guard is $10. You can get them for they're basically, no matter what, going to be sell for like $9 or $10. If you sell all 18 of these at $10, you're at $180.
And then you got to do all the work.
You throw it in a padded envelope and say bye-bye.
Yeah, you got to list it somewhere. You got to talk to people.
You just run the same listing over and over
So
again.
you would do this?
Yeah.
You would work this flip? How much do truss rod covers go for?
That I don't know. But you know what? Even if they're worthless,
We're both getting on to
the problem
eBay
with
now.
the problem with the truss rod covers is they don't say anything on them. They're just blank.
Right, but some people might want that.
So and
I'm searching for LP truss rod cover, a blank one here for $4 plus $150 shipping. So let's just call it $4 times. I mean, this is going to blow your mind if there's really 500 in there.
I don't think there's really 500 in there, but
How many do you think?
I don't know, maybe like 100.
No, there's more than that.
You think there's more than that?
Let's split the difference and call it 300. Oops. 4 times 300, $1,200 worth of truss rod covers.
Yeah.
But you
Say
got to make that $4 at a time.
Say I'm closer and there's only 100. It's still $400 plus the $180 from all these pick
You
guards.
got to ship truss rod covers for the rest of your life to make that money.
But really, once you...
What if they don't even fit anything?
Once you make your $75 back, everything else is gravy.
Your grandkids someday are going to be like, Grandpa, why do you send out a single envelope every single day? I've been trying to get rid of these truss rod covers my whole life. I just give them away now.
I don't know, man.
To anyone who will take them.
I just think there's...
That's a long flip.
I mean, honestly, I would probably sell the pick guards and then just recycle the truss rod covers. I wouldn't even keep them. probably just get rid of them.
Melt them down.
I would sell the truss rod covers as long as I had pick guards, and as soon as all the pick guards were gone, I would just throw all the truss rod covers in the recycling. Yeah, this is the kind of stupid thing that I would definitely try to flip.
This is a dumb thing to flip.
Like now
The effort
it would
is
be
too
harder,
high.
but like I know Meg has like a ton of like
Didn't she find someone to take those off her hands?
jacks or something.
No, they're knobs.
They're knobs, whatever they were.
She made an order to Mammoth for like a certain component, and instead they sent her a bag of like 800.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Like boss style knobs.
Right. And I think she did find, but it's like that's the kind of thing where I'd have been like, if they don't want them back, just sell them. Sell
the bag.
Sell them all at once.
You have to. Here's the way to flip these. You don't sell them one at a time. You sell them 10 at a time.
Okay, yeah.
And then someone's like, well, you get the person who's like, I could buy one for $4, or I could buy 10 for $14.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't want to lose money on this. And then they start doing the math and like, I can sell the other 9 and make my money back.
So again, like going with the minimal, if we say there's
pass the flip onto some other sucker flipper.
If we say there's 100. So 10 packs of 10 at $14, that's $140. So you're almost doubled up just selling 10 packs, 14 10 packs.
You still got to do a lot of flipping. Steve believes in this flip.
Paul Pennington, let us know if we're crazy.
Anyone listening right now, let us know if Steve is crazy. I'm not crazy. You're the one who's crazy.
All I wanted was a Pepsi.
I'm glad you're on the same page with me. All right, let's find this topic. It's kind of an ad topic hybrid.
Yeah. This is one of the guys in the group. Kane Flores says, decided to stop by Guitar Center to check out the sale. I don't know what's Labor Day sale, I guess.
Probably.
These picks are the only thing I bought for myself. They feel and play pretty well. I also bought some of those egg maracas for my kids. You have any of those egg maracas for your kid?
I've got one around here somewhere.
I've got one.
Yeah. I've got one of those big can ones. I think Henry likes that one better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like the big can?
Yeah, it's like a plastic can. It's like that wide. You know. It's one of the smaller ones.
And a Mitchell acoustic, but the acoustic is staying in the box because I bought it as a favor for someone. I have a Mitchell acoustic.
Yeah, you do.
These are Snark picks. This is the medium heavy premium series, the Teddy's Neo Tortoise pick.
So Snark is a company that's part of the Dan Electro family.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they make the Snark tuner.
I know they make the Snark tuner. I didn't realize they were part of Dan Electro.
Yeah. It's I got a Snark that came with my Dan Electros around here somewhere.
Gotcha.
And you can tell just by the branding that's from the same place.
Right.
I think it's really interesting that they have this branding with Teddy Roosevelt, and the other variety has Sigmund Freud on the front. Like they're going full weird with it. But then also I'm kind of curious. I feel like I should buy a pack of these because the pickguard material looks really great. And if it's really celluloid and it has like that transparent quality to it, I'm super into it. I want to find out the source for their material and get pickguards made because some of this material looks fantastic.
Yeah.
But what do you think about some of the claims that they're making with these picks here? I've got the site up. It says it's better in 5 ways. Tone enhancing substrate. Does that mean anything at all?
Yeah, it just means it's plastic. Or it's celluloid, I guess.
Right, but a lot of pictures.
So that's celluloid. The thing I'm actually kind of.
It's kind of like how Dan Electro has their own 9-volt batteries and claims that they're like tone batteries or something. Right,
like what is Neo Tortoise? Is that a different material? Than than just tortoiseshell celluloid.
I don't know. I feel like I got to buy both of these to review them.
Like I want to know what the difference is between the Neo Tortoise and the celluloid.
Number 2, laser cut for precision, size, and shape. That's just them saying we manufacture these and we use lasers to do it.
Somewhere I've got a pick punch. Is that more or less precise than a laser?
Less precise. Unless the laser breaks. The pick punch probably wouldn't break in such a dramatic way as the laser. Number 3, edges polished for 30 plus hours. So pick edges do not drag on string and corrupt tone. What? I really want to see these get polished for 30 hours. What does that mean? Does it mean... okay. My first thought in my head was like they have one pick in a machine and it's like polishing that one pick for 30 hours. They can't possibly mean that. They have a giant barrel full of a polishing material like a dust or like polishing rocks, and they throw 1,000 picks in there at the time. And
you think that's how they're polished?
For,
like some kind of like a
30
rock,
hours?
like a rock tumbler? If
they're being honest about 30 hours, then yeah, they've got to be a lot of picks going at the same time.
Doesn't mean, I mean, yeah, I guess. I was thinking like maybe 30 hours, but it's only like one polish per minute. It's like just...
Can you imagine spending 30 hours on a pick?
It's not like it's like hand polished.
But even if you have to load an individual pick into some machine that's going to polish it, they're putting it into a big tumbler with like a polishing dust. And there's a million picks in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, they're really like digging for some unique selling propositions here. That's an advertising term, by the way, guys.
Selling proposition?
Unique selling proposition. Number 4, non-slip coating to improve grip. I have a feeling that comes from the polishing process, whatever that is. Maybe they did coat it with something, but why would they coat it with something if they polished it for so long?
Yeah.
I really got to get my...
I think no slip...
I got to get my fingers on these picks.
No slip grip just means that they embossed the name.
The logo is printed on there.
The logo is printed on there. No, because seriously, like Dunlop picks have a no slip grip.
Yeah.
All that means is that the Dunlop logo is like slightly punched into the...
I haven't had slippery pick problems in a while.
Dude, I play Gravity, so...
Damn, dude. Number 5, this is the last point here on these picks. Free pick file included in every pack. Customized point and edge of your pick. I have never seen this offered with picks or like presented as a concept that anyone should do or could do, I guess. I mean, you can. I've made modifications to picks over the years where I'm messing around. I'm like, I'll try to reshape this thing, or I'll drill a hole in the middle for grip or whatever.
Yeah.
You've
never like had... Well, I mean, I guess
it seems like they're just selling picks.
I guess the idea is like if you had like... Because these are all Fender... or not Fender... I forget what the number is, but it's like the standard Dunlop, Fender, whatever size pick.
We're going to buy these.
Guitar Center.
How much are they?
Huh?
I want to find out how
they're
much
like $4 on musiciansfriend.com. Just call
Amazon.
Robert, man. So anyway, one of the things on here that kind of throws me off is it says medium heavy 0.994 millimeter, plays like 0.88. So
you don't want a pick to play like a different size. You want it to play like the exact size that you bought.
Right.
It's not
it's like, oh, it's a heavier feel, but it plays lighter. Does that mean it's less flexible?
It's not like, because I could...
Does it just mean the polishing, like, my thought was, oh, maybe the polishing means it's faster, but then like, I think, again, like the fastest picks I've used are polished acrylic or like a polished... Actually, the fastest picks I've probably played are the satellite amplifiers promo picks.
I still have that giant pile of picks that I need to do a video with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, $4.99 here. How many picks are in a pack? 12 picks? I guess that's an all right price. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a pretty standard, if not cheap price.
I just want to get them just because the materials look really cool. Are there 12 different varieties? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You got to buy multiple boxes to get them all.
Oh, really? Because there's a bunch of...
Did I count right?
I wonder if they're random.
No, I counted wrong. It's 12. I'm gonna have to buy 2 packs of these just to check them out. It's just a lot of marketing there for some picks, and none of it mentions like the patterns are really cool, because that's what I'm seeing.
Right.
That's the reason I want to buy them, because the patterns look really cool. Like, is there any like element to the picks you use that are kind of snake oily and like just marketing terms?
I don't know. Probably.
Good answer, Steve. That's really going to carry the show along. I don't know.
Dude, I got my picks for free from NAM. Literally,
Steve really knows how to keep the show moving.
I'm sure they do. Like, I'm sure V-Pix and Gravity Pix both have. I know.
No, I'm asking if there's a quality to them that you're like, yeah, this is why I use these, but maybe other people will be like, that sounds just like marketing to me. Because I've basically used the same kind of pick my entire life. I just use basically a Fender heavy, and now I've been using those printed ones we had made for us that are like the Dunlop style, but it's like the same weight as like a Fender heavy, just with the Tortex material. Like, I've never been like, I got to try all these other picks.
Yeah, no, I the picks I have are just thick, and they feel good in my hand. Mm-hmm. And
do they feel like a different gauge of pick?
Well, I mean, they're very thick. Oh, I don't know what gauge they are, but they definitely feel like the gauge that I think they're supposed to be.
Interesting. Should we move on to the next ad? Oh, sponsors. Let's do sponsors.
Let's talk about our sponsors.
Yeah. Who's our first sponsor, Steve?
This week's episode is sponsored by Gun Street Wiring Shop.
Oh, cool.
Ryan has some of their stuff, and I have some of their stuff.
So my plans got put on hold to modify my Telecaster because I flooded my house. So I don't have a working space in my garage to actually work on the Telecaster. But when I do, I'm going to put a third humbucker in my Telecaster, and I'm going to get a Gun Street wiring harness.
Is it pool routed?
No, but I'm going to route it. Don't worry.
Geez.
I'm going to modify this thing. I'm going to do a triple humbucker Telecaster, and Gun Street's going to make a harness for me.
This is what you get for sponsoring us, Sean.
But I want to put...
you hear that maniacal laugh?
I want to have wiring in there for there to be a coil split on each humbucker. Ooh. So I don't know how that's going to go yet.
You're going to probably just end up with a bunch of push-pulls and switches.
Because originally I was thinking like, I'm going to need a push-pull for every single pickup. But then I realized that Harley Benton Fusion I got has one switch to coil split both humbuckers. So maybe like one, I don't know if he can do it so that one push-pull splits all the pickups, or if it's limited to doing 2 per switch.
Right.
So then I could make 2 knobs that have a push-pull and say like one knob coil splits the neck and the bridge, and the other knob splits the middle. Something like that.
Yeah. A lot of options there.
There's a lot of options. I'm looking forward to doing it. I'm looking forward to my house not being wrecked anymore. Continue with your copy that you were going to say about Gun Street, Steve.
I totally lost it.
Gun Street Wiring Harnesses. They make all sorts of great harnesses. Go check them out.
Yeah.
They can custom make stuff for you if it's not already on their list of pre-designed wiring harnesses.
Yeah, this episode is also brought to you by Sinusoid. Do you know Sinusoid makes like basically the smallest soldered patch cable that you can buy?
They sure do, and I've been using those like crazy for all my demos, just because they kind of disappear visually.
They really do. First of all, they're called the Sliver.
They're really small,
and there's a picture that was floating around that's just crazy.
And the parts that you can see look really stylish.
It's like a Sliver 90-degree angle jack sitting next to, I don't know if it's a Neutrik or an Amphenol or what, but I mean, the size difference is staggering.
It's just this tiny little head. So small there. You can't even see it on the camera right now. And then the cable itself is pretty beefy. Like, these things feel substantial. They don't feel wimpy. They don't feel like a little wire that's tiny and is going to break over time. They feel like a beefy soldered cable, but the heads on them are just so compact.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
If you want a small cable, the smallest soldered patch cable you can get, head on over to sinusoid.com. They make cables.
And smiles.
And last but not least, this episode is brought to you by Walrus Audio. They just released the DEF CON 4.
I'm holding it here in my hand behind the logo that I'm superimposing over the video.
Ryan, not Burke. Ryan Adams' signature pedal.
A different Ryan.
What does this thing do? It's rotary knob.
It's a boost. It's an EQ.
It's a preamp.
And it's a preamp.
That's actually my favorite YouTube comment is like, some channels are calling it a boost, some channels are calling it an EQ, some channels are calling it a preamp. So like, why can't you guys decide what it is?
Because it's all 3 things.
Yeah, and if you go on their website, it literally says it's all 3 things. It's a really cool pedal. It looks great. It's got a very 80s looking graphic.
I mean, buy it for the looks, keep it for the tone.
There you go.
It actually does sound really nice. It feels weird to say it, but there have been boosts that I've had in my life that feel like much more than just a boost.
Right.
Like they have a character all their own.
Is this one of them?
This is one of them. It adds a little something extra in there, and I can't really define what it is, but it just makes you. It's like a make it better box. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like
would you
I feel
call
like my DoD
would you
bifet
call it
boost
a
like
more
similar to
gooderer
that.
pedal?
It's a more gooderer pedal. I'd say it's a buy, or a buy.
All right. There you have it.
It's not a buy.
Head on over to walrusaudio.com to learn more about that thing.
Obviously, it's a buy for people who love Ryan Adams as well. You got to collect the whole set of whatever he has made.
You got the VCR. You got this.
Doesn't he have some other pedal?
No, everyone's just waiting for the Benson amp to hit the market.
Yeah, he does use those Bensons, doesn't he? All right, so the next ad was sent to us by
Paul Pennington.
Paul Pennington.
This is a Fender Custom Forecaster tenor guitar for sale. Mint condition, plays very well. One of a kind. There is no actual description of this, so I guess we're just going to have to talk about it. Oh, this is far more custom than I thought.
It's very custom.
So this is a Forecaster.
I'm finding it for some reason.
It's under tenor guitar. Tenor conversion. It's
there it
is.
It's
the ones that don't
It's
have
the
pictures.
only one that's not previewed.
So
on my thing here.
I don't know what to say. It's a Fender. It says.
Are you familiar with tenor guitars at all?
I've never played one, but a tenor guitar is just an electric guitar that has only the high four strings.
It could be
right?
acoustic too.
Right. And in fact, traditionally, they were more typically acoustic. I've actually only
for most of guitar history, they've only been acoustic.
Right.
But let's be honest, acoustic sucks. Electric's where it's at. I think this. The only reason I picked this ad is because I think it's a really fun conversion of that neck. They took a Fender neck, and they carved down the sides, and they did a good job of it. They filled up the holes on the headstock, the extra 2 holes.
Yeah.
And they made a little block to hold it into the neck block of the body. They even went so far to make custom pickups.
Yeah, there are 4-pole pickups.
Yeah, that fill the spot of a 6-pole pickup.
A 4-pole or a 4-saddle bridge.
Is this body a mini Strat? Because it's only got the 2 knobs.
Does a mini Strat only have Strat?
Yeah, and look how big the jack is on that body. That is a miniature Strat body.
Okay, if you say so. I have no reference on that, honestly.
I'm just saying the body is smaller than a normal Strat body. Look how big the jack is. It's easy to tell. Use your eyes, Steve.
My eyes are tired.
I want to play this guitar. It looks really sharp, and the modifications were done very well.
Yeah, $300. Do you think that's a fair price?
Oh yeah, for $300. If I was shopping for an electric tenor, or if I'd even been thinking about it casually, it would be easy for me to be like, yeah, I got to go get this. The only thing they could have done a little bit better or different is get the 4-saddle width bridge that they sell for like cigar box guitars now.
Oh, okay.
Because they just have a modified 6-saddle in there with what looks like tape over where the screws are, or something over those. I can't tell what's going on there with a bridge, but they could have blocked off the holes the same way they did with the neck and dropped in one of those 4 position.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's going on with the bridge.
It looks like something's installed on either side of the saddles to hold them in place side by side, because you do want something like holding most of your saddles, like the high E oftentimes suffers by not having something on the far side of it to keep it from rattling. So maybe they were trying to solve that issue. I don't know.
It's something, because it's a direct overhead shot, it's just hard to tell exactly what's happening there.
Yeah, but for $300, if you go and like try it out and play it and it checks out, I think this is a totally fine price. What does Eastwood charge for their tenor guitars?
Are you looking it up?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Eastwood Tenor.
Eastwood Tenor guitars.
It's a race.
I'm not looking it up. You said you were doing it.
$529 for the Warren Ellis signature.
What about? Do they have any other ones? They have some other ones.
They have a Tenor semi-hollow for $600.
Okay.
So for $300, you're getting a Fender aesthetic here.
Yeah.
That looks like a really fun modification for sure. Next topic.
Yeah, this next topic was also sent by Kane.
What did he send? Oh, he had the Snark
He also
picks.
sent the Snark picks.
It's a double
Flores.
Kane.
He says, "How about doing demos for pedals from smaller pedal builders? There's a lot of pedal builders on Reverb with no demos. Y'all would be doing both communities a solid." In a sense, yes.
Mm-hmm. I wish it worked that way. I mean, people already discussed on the post, like the realities of people getting paid.
Yeah.
And I did a video a while back discussing the realities of like the demo industry. And I know this is going to be a Ryan heavy topic where I talk about.
It's kind of interesting.
I
I don't have like a huge perspective. I tend to I think bend the rules a little bit in terms of like, if I get hit up with someone who's saying like, "Oh, can you do this?" So for example, like the music area cases.
Right.
Or like the F Zone ukulele, like the F Zone ukulele was actually like a counter. I paid $1 for that. So those were instances where I would say like those are instances where the product is fairly minimal involvement.
Sure.
So I think some of it. For
a while, I had two different tiers of demos.
Right.
They would offer. I had that gas and go format, and then I had the regular format.
Yeah.
And the problem that I ran into is that if I was doing a demo for someone who sent me something, like if they didn't pay, it was going to be gas and go, and if they did pay, it would be the regular format. I found myself putting the exact amount of work in.
Right.
With the gas and goes, because like, oh, someone sent this to me, I need to do like the best job I can with it, even though it's a different format. And so I had to end that because I was losing days of work to something I wasn't getting paid for.
Right.
So it's easy to be like, oh, just don't do as much work. But then like you do the work that you do because you're trying to represent the quality of work that you can do.
And I think there's also a level of, demo versus review. So I think products that I tend to push you a little more on and be like, hey, we can do this. Like we can do it fast and dirty. Again, like a ukulele is something where it's more of like, you don't really demo a ukulele. Yeah. You just play it. And if it makes a sound, you say, oh, I played this thing. And it either sounds, heavier than your typical ukulele, or it sounds thin, like most ukuleles.
Ukuleles are kind of supposed to sound like a tin can.
I'm bringing this up because I think we may be getting some more ukuleles.
More ukuleles,
soon.
Steve. Okay. But there's that format of video, and it's hard to describe the explain what the difference is.
Right.
But there's a style of video I do that I can bust out in 2 hours, and I'm left with 6 hours in my day to do my other work that makes money for me to support my family. And if I have a day where I don't have anything to do, I can make like 3 videos in a day.
Right.
Versus a paid demo, like I do for Walrus. Mm-hmm. There's no secret there. Where I'll literally throw 2 days at it.
Right.
Like 2 days of working at it. And so, that's really the problem there is like, if a pedal builder hits me up and like, hey, do a demo of my product, I know that I could spend anywhere from 1 to 2 full days working on it. And it like that commands like me charging money for it just because of the time cost of it. But I would love to have a format of video or some way of doing it where a small builders can hit me up and like, look, I don't have a budget for your full demo, but do what you can. I've thought about turning the pedal boarding videos into that. Be like, hey, I'm not going to demo the full thing, but if you send me something, I'll throw it on this board. It'll be on one setting the whole time, but it'll be incorporated in this video.
And I think from a test standpoint, so I, from a couple different angles is one is what's, we have to ask a question on that too of, of what's the popularity of the pedal. And so that's something that's always, honestly, it's a little bit of a driver. When we got the Nuix stuff, the Nux stuff, originally we got all that stuff, and I was like, dude, just do a pedal boarding video, like it'll be fine. And you actually went kind of above and beyond on that, because it seemed like, at least for the
I saw
at least for the Solid Studio and for the Atlantic, they're both like really fun pedals to mess around with. But originally, like, I was just like, yeah, dude, just do a pedal boarding video and we'll talk about it on the show.
Well, that was part of the problem too. Is like, I got those pedals and I was like, these pedals warrant a full demo / review, whatever you want to call it, because I think there's a lot to unpack here, and I think people are curious about these.
But then that's the flip side of it is you know, it's a lot of times small builders don't have much of a following, but
it's also like a thing where they just sent them to us and there wasn't ever like an agreement of like, hey, demo these for us. They sent them to us with a note of like, do something or don't do something with them.
Yeah. In fact, I think we did the video just on the podcast, because we messed around with all of those on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I got the impression from them that they were just pretty stoked on just that by itself.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's what I should offer, because I do need to rework like our marketing information for pedal stuff soon.
Right.
And for sponsorship stuff. Maybe I should put a thing that, like, if you're a small builder and you want to have something reviewed, we'll call it a review instead of a demo, then send it to us, and there's no schedule involved. We can't promise when it's going to come out.
Right.
Man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's tough. It's really tough, guys. It's a lot of work to do this stuff.
And there's some hardness there too, to kind of figure out, just in terms of...
It would be different if we were just starting this out and we were hungry for gear and like excited about like, oh, I could get gear for free, you know? And it's like,
yeah,
I'm dying under a pile of stuff here now.
Right.
It's not like, oh boy, an overdrive. I've never been given an overdrive before.
Right. And some of that is, a lot of times with small builders, they might only have like, 20 boxes or whatever. So even sending something out,
I get that.
Sending something out where on our end we would say like, well, if we're going to do like even a minimal amount of work, then we want to keep it. Like, they may not even have the overhead for that to say like, well, I can't afford to lose a unit. And again, like, it goes back to the driver. And like, so we kind of talked about this before. Like, if Boss was doing a product launch and they said, hey, we want you guys to do some work for us, like, we probably wouldn't even discuss money, because a product launch for Boss,
their audience is 1 billion times bigger than ours.
Yeah, to just kind of like throw out some rough numbers, I would probably guess that a product launch for Boss would, like, the first video would probably do 20 to 30,000 views easy.
Oh, easy.
Which would convert to probably another at least 500 subscribers.
Right.
Which converts to, 2 or 3 new Patreon people for you. So then it pays off in the long run.
But that's probably never going to... Well, the way it pays off is if it gets us a ton of new subscribers, then our bigger amount of subscribers warrants and it makes us more attractive to people who do pay us for demos.
Right.
I mean, this is all very shrewd, like, capitalistic stuff here, guys. But the reality is that, like, time is money, and I've got mouths to feed over here.
And so it's hard because, the small pedal builder typically probably doesn't have much of a budget for marketing, if any.
Right.
There's not a ton of incentive there, because unless they manage to build up a lot of hype, we've done pedal. We've put out videos before in the past with companies that even when there was like some amount of hype about the product, I wouldn't say they chose, maybe they chose, but like our video wasn't marketed. And this was when we were a lot smaller. Like,
sure,
the video wasn't particularly marketed on their end. We marketed it to, try to put it in as many hands as we could.
Yeah.
And the video, instead of getting a comparative, like, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 views, it only got like 500 views because nobody promoted it. And there just wasn't like,
right,
there just wasn't the push. Whereas, something where there's like, I don't know, it's like you said, it feels weird to talk about the numbers, but the numbers are a reality.
I mean, nothing can actually be free. If we do something for free, monetarily wise, it's because we think there's going to be a trade-off in a different direction.
Yeah.
As far as just getting a significant amount of exposure for the work, or some other kind of return for the work, whether it be a relationship with a company or something.
Even like that exposure, it has to be, the
right kind of
exactly, because the classic running
people
joke
die from exposure all the time.
People die from exposure, or
they don't take exposure as payment at the grocery store.
Philippe from Caroline wrote something the other day about how like he would have guys in his town who would hit him up and be like, "Hey man, I played like 30 shows in the last 6 months. Can I get one of your pedals?" And they're like, and he's like, where were all those shows at? Oh, this place. And they were like 30 shows at like 6 different venues in the same town.
Right.
It's like, you're not going to promote this to anybody.
Yeah.
So, it's, oh man, no, I'm an influencer. I have like 500 followers on Instagram. Like, okay. Like,
yeah.
So there is that trade-off there of, well, is this a company that can legitimately, get like exposure that like you said, that can convert to something,
right?
That like actually means something, versus. I
mean, it all sounds very shrewd. It makes it sound like big business boys.
You should see our spreadsheets. Oh, I didn't update the spreadsheet.
You should see our spreadsheets. The thing that bums me out about it is that it kind of flies in the face of
how we started.
The punk rock kid inside of me.
Right.
Who's like, it's all just corporate culture, this and that company, blah, blah, blah. Because it's like, I wish that I could do this work for free for the little guys and then charge the big guys tons and tons of money to make it worthwhile. And it sucks that it's kind of flipped.
Yeah.
Where if a big company came to me and said, "Hey, we're going to send you a product. Here's the launch date, and you get to be part of the launch," I'd be like, "Yeah, just send it to me," and I wouldn't even discuss it. Mm-hmm. Where a little guy, it's like, because I have the audience and they want access to that audience, then I have to charge them.
Right.
Where I'm not going to get anything else out of that exchange doing work for free for them. If I do work if I do work for the product,
yeah,
for a bigger company, I mean, and when I say big, I mean really big, then I'm getting legitimate exposure to their audience that is much bigger than our audience.
Right.
And that's it bugs me on a punk rock level.
It's kind of like this weird Shark Tank thing, where, well, okay. So the first thing I guess the real thing I would kind of like to caveat all of this.
Sure.
If you're starting
a weird business,
if you're starting a small company or you have something going and like you want some work, like legitimately, like, okay, don't leave a comment on Instagram. Don't try to slip into our DMs.
Email us.
Just write a proper email. Why? Because I answer the emails. So one, you're much more likely to like at least get, because if I read it, then we'll talk about, like Ryan and I will talk about it.
Right.
2, like, do some work. And this is like kind of where that weird Shark Tanky thing is. I guess I've never asked this, but like on Shark Tank, when people go on there and they are like, "Oh, I've got this great idea," the thing that like the sharks always ask is like, "Well, how many have you sold since you've started doing this?" "Oh, you started doing this 5 years ago and you've sold like 100, so you've sold like 20 a year for the last 5 years." Like, and I'm not going to ask those kinds of numbers, but we, if we punch into Instagram and a company comes to us and we punch into their like Instagram and they have like 3 pictures up, but their account's been running for like a year, and it looks like there's no effort on their end, there's no incentive for us.
Sure.
Even because how are we supposed to get excited about a new product if it doesn't even seem like the people who are building it are excited about it?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of different angles there, but I would say the first thing is reach out to us. We can't be everywhere. It's hard. Like, I don't really follow leads up when someone's like, oh, I saw this pedal on, like Kane said initially, he's like, I see all these small builder pedals on YouTube or on Reverb, but there's no videos. Like, I don't know if I should support these guys because I don't know what their pedal sounds like.
Right.
Well, neither do we. Like, there's no way for us to find those unless we're looking for it specifically. It just all kind of comes back to figuring out like how to make that connection. And it does kind of have to be direct. And that's kind of, honestly, from the audience standpoint, that's where we kind of sometimes rely on you guys. If you find a product that you think you're interested in, but there's no demo work on it, like hit up the builder and say, hey, I know these guys that, do a show and they do a lot of work. You should hit them up. Our prices are still pretty freaking reasonable, all things considered, because for most companies out there and for most pedals, we're really only looking at like 3 or 4.
If I took the time that I spent on a demo and applied that to shooting wedding videography, I'd be making so much more money.
Oh yeah,
like way more money than doing pedal demos.
You sound really sad right now.
I feel like I should be shooting wedding videos right now instead of doing this podcast. Thinking about that money. I don't like to shoot weddings, so it's so awful.
Oh,
some people love it. I don't like working weddings. Give me a funeral. I'll shoot a funeral.
Oh my gosh.
Like
how do you like those? How do you like the Hyatt conferences?
Those are easy. Those are easy money.
Oh yeah.
Like doing sometimes I'll do video for these like conventions that roll into town, and you stand in the back, the camera on a tripod, and you just follow the person talking. It's so easy, it's boring to death. And you get catering. So I guess weddings are like that too, but you don't have to dress up really nice, and you don't like have to catch people in their most beautiful emotional moment. You're watching people do PowerPoint presentations for like 8 hours and you get paid decent for it.
Yeah. All right. So full circle.
Here we go.
If there's a product that you're interested in, you know what? Really, here's the way to do it. If there's a product that you're interested in and a demo doesn't exist, contact the builder, or if they just have an email address that you know of, send them an email and CC us on it so we know, hey, our listeners are interested in this.
Introduce us. If you know someone who, like a friend of yours, makes stuff, like introduce us. It sounds like we're talking big talk, but like we're regular people. You guys know us from the Facebook group and everything like that. We'll get creative with people if they want to get creative with us, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, and I would say like too, if you're a builder and like things haven't worked out in the past, like it could just be timing. Ryan has bad days. I have bad days. We're both, honestly, like, if for both of our personal lives, if either of us said, hey, we should just not do the podcast for like the next month, we could. It's just one thing on top of your house burning down and
not burning down, flooding down.
Like both of our personal lives are very chaotic right now.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like, we do things because we've got to keep keep the fan base happy.
Maybe I should get into paid Instagram marketing. I know that's something
I don't think we're big enough for
other people have done.
You need like 100,000.
But it's like, I mean, we got almost 12. We've got an audience on there. Like have a really low budget option for new builders where we just do
a 1 minute.
No, it's not even a video. We just do a photo post and like, hey, you guys should go check these dudes out.
Well, and also Instagram would give you the option of doing like a less than 1 minute, like quick and dirty.
We don't even have to have the product. We can just be like, hey, today's Instagram posts are sponsored by this company. Go check them out.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I'm just thinking about ways to make our audience accessible to people who have smaller budgets.
Now we sound really conceited.
I know. I don't mean to sound so big business. I don't feel that way about us or myself. I feel like this is still it's like we're doing really exciting stuff, and you compare this to like year one of the podcast or even year two, and it's just like it's incredible, but it's like it's a lot of work and it's a lot of hard work.
it's the funny thing is like in this current moment of talking about this, it's like kind of the realization of like when this is like the opposite of NAMM. Because right now you're like, oh, business, I don't really want to talk about it. But like at NAMM, you're just
hustle.
You just hustle the whole time. And I'm just like, wait, when's Gear Slum opening the drink cart?
Yeah. Well, it's because I got to make it worth it to me because I'm away from my family for 5 days or whatever for NAMM.
Yeah, I was making it worth it to me too with like $90 in free drinks.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the last ad and get out of here.
Oh, you know what I didn't do?
Let's not do an hour and a half of content this week.
Quick, housekeeping. At the best friends level, that's the $5 level. Patrick Camp, thank you so much. I know I am behind on merch and whatnot. Some people I'm still waiting to hear back from, but I should be getting those out.
I've been thinking about getting some 5-year anniversary patches or stickers made or something like that for the inner circle.
My goal is to be completely caught up by the end of the month.
That's a good goal, Steve.
Which is, for a one-man op that is right now kind of only working.
Also thinking about making some Water Day T-shirts for the third shop.
That'd be cool.
October's coming up quick. What's the date on that? I
don't know. October 17th, something like that. Anyway, if you want to support us, head to patreon.com/60cyclehum. Not even going to advertise the Podbean anymore because I don't like it. It's just too messy. And at the $1 level, we're like, hey, awesome, $1. If everyone supported us at $1, we'd be pretty friggin' stoked about it. At the $5 level, you get a merch pack. At a $10 level, you get a merch pack. And
access to the inner circle.
Extra sticker and access to the Inner Circle, which is our behind the scenes Facebook group.
It's a secret group. No one knows about it. No big deal.
Well, I mean, people know it exists. We just the people we just told.
I'll kill them.
All right, this last ad was sent in by Steven Reynolds. This is a Squire 51 loaded body nitro lacquer. It says this listing is for the loaded body, which includes 2 GFS gold foils, 2 Mojotone 500K pots, Switchcraft input jack, Oak Grigsby 3-weight switch, a Mojotone 22 gouage wire, upgraded saddles.
Oh, you mean gauge wire?
It says gouage.
Gouage.
I'm willing to sell without any of the hardware pickups mentioned above, so just mention it in your offer. The finish is close to a Lake Placid / Pelham Blue. It's nitro lacquer finished over the original Sunburst, so it'll look very cool when it ages. There are a couple paint blemishes, which are in the last pick. Nothing crazy or noticeable. A couple of chips also pictured, but nothing big.
I feel like this ad's a little bit confusing and would be a little bit of a letdown to anyone viewing it seriously, like, oh, I want to buy that.
Because the neck is on there?
You see the neck in the photos,
yeah,
and it's listed at $198. I mean, $200. You're like, a $200 guitar that looks amazing? That's fantastic. Then you find out that it's just the body. It's not the neck. It's a little bit of a letdown. But I feel like this is the best and coolest modded 51 I've ever seen.
That's fair.
How do you feel about it?
I really like the way... I love this color blue.
I love the switch position. Is that weird?
No, it's like a Les Paul-y kind of position.
It's a Fender...
Except it's a 3-way.
It's a Fender, like, slide switch.
Yeah.
Like a Strat switch, but it's up on the upper horn, which means they had to route that out, right? There's not originally a route up there.
I mean...
There was never a switch up there.
There wasn't a switch out there.
Because originally the 51, the switch is one of the knobs.
One of the knobs, yeah. There's also a switch on the bottom horn, and it doesn't really say anything about it.
I mean, it's either got to be an out of phase or a coil split, but he doesn't say anything about it. You're right.
It looks great. What do you think about the price?
For $200, the amount of work and parts is there. But it's a hard sale.
Yeah.
Because you got to be looking for this exactly.
And you're going to have, after you get this, and
he does say you can just buy the body without the loadout. So he'll charge you a price for the repainted body.
Which I wonder what that would be.
It looks like a good paint job.
Yeah, no.
It looks smooth and glossy.
He says there's like some blemishes in the last picture, but I didn't
post those pictures.
Oh, you didn't post that one.
There's a ding on the back edge.
Oh, on the back? Who cares? Yeah. On the back.
Well, it's on the back edge. The Edge Steve.
Still can't.
No one's gonna see it.
No one's gonna see it.
No one's gonna see it.
All right. Yeah. I kind of look at it from the perspective of once you hunt down a decent neck, you're going to be out another $100.
I mean, you got it. How much are these bodies unmodified?
They can't be more than like $100, can they?
You got a $100 body. You've got at least $60 worth of pickups in here.
I guess.
And you've got a bunch of other modifications. And you've got a refin that looks decent, and refins can cost like $250.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I feel like there's the values here. And we don't usually say that for things that are heavily modified. But if I was shopping for a 51 body that wasn't stock, this would grab my attention pretty hard.
I think, because somebody brought that up today, that mods don't add value. But I think once you get into refinish territory, especially for something that had very limited finish options to begin with.
Right. And
it starts kind of like graying.
It's a cool freaking look.
Yeah.
It's just the body, but it's a fender. You can put any fender neck you want in there. Mm-hmm. And you could throw a Mexican Strat neck in there. I know that's a telly heel, so you could throw a telly.
You should throw a telly neck on it.
Throw a telly neck in there.
That's what this was supposed to have on it.
That would be like a $120 Mexican telly neck, and you've got a really freaking slick looking guitar for $330 that no one else has.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of Lake Placid Blue, but this thing does it. It has the look.
Yeah, no, it looks really nice.
Maybe this is the first modded guitar we've seen that's like, that's the right price. I don't think I don't think more than this is correct. I think this guy priced it correctly.
Okay.
Because if this was like $250 without a neck, I'd be like, I don't know.
Right.
And then that would push me negative, and I'd be like, I wouldn't pay more than $125, and that would be stupid.
That would be stupid.
I mean, it's what we say about these things. It's like you've got to find someone who wants this combination of modifications.
Right.
But this combination of modifications is attractive enough that I think it's going to hit a good audience.
I wouldn't say everything's high end. GFS pickups aren't high end per se, but they're an okay option for this type of guitar.
Sure.
Everything else.
And the guy says you can like talk to him about like excluding certain things. So you could maybe be like, I don't want the pickups. I just want the body and the pick guard.
Yeah.
And the controls.
Yeah.
And then figure out like if you can knock $50 off or something.
And that's I guess that's like the weird thing, because if this didn't come with pickups but it came with everything else, like I'd be like, oh yeah, $150 maybe.
Yeah. It just feels like the right price for what this is. I don't have any problems with it.
All right.
Let's get out of here.
This song was sent to us by James Zapp. He says, a little bit about me. I'm a singer-songwriter based out of Connecticut. I enjoy to write pop/folk tunes. I've played all over the country and the world, opening for acts such as George Thorogood, Constantine Maroulis, Corey Henry, and the Funk Apostles, and the Funky Dogs Brass Band.
That's a lot of funk.
How my music fits with any of these artists, I have no idea, but their checks cleared after the gig, so it's all fine with me.
As long as the check clears. Right, guys?
So the song we're going to play is called The Other Half. He says this is a folky pop tune similar to the Lumineers. Both songs he sent two songs, but we're going to play that one called The Other Half. Recorded on a Focusrite Claret and a PreSonus 1818 VSL. Thanks for sending these songs in, James. Goodbye, everybody else.
Later.
Just give a nod and I'll be running across hellish waters, cross high royal lands. If you need time, I won't be a bother. 'Cause love is kind and love is patient. I'll be kind of patient to be your man. I found things in this world, from Berlin to Baton Rouge, but never in this world will I find another you. I need you to make me whole, to make me whole. 'Cause you are the other half of my soul. Baby, I'm tired of chasing ghosts. that I can hear, but I can always see through. And my mind says to be finished with you, but my heart and soul aren't quite finished with you. I need you to make me whole, to make me whole. 'Cause you are the other half of my soul. The other half that makes me laugh, the other half that makes me smile.